All right, as promised, joining us, former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson. He officially announced that he wants to replace Graham Plattner as the Democratic nominee for Senate. Thank you very much for being with us, Troy. I'm sure you just heard that debate between my guests there, Paul Rieckhoff and Jamie Harrison. What do you think?
Well, I think at least one person there is not accurate. In Maine, I fought to let independents actually vote in our primaries. We had a record number of independents, I think 75%, that chose a Democratic ticket. They wanted to be involved, and they were, and I hope they're involved in this convention process, too.
How do you appeal to independents? Graham Plattner had the Democrats locked up, but it did appear that he might have been struggling with some independents. And some folks that might have been tired of Susan Collins. The polling was tighter than the Democrats thought it should be toward the end there. So what's your message?
Well, as far as independents go, I got elected as an independent my first term. It wasn't until I got down there that I actually started seeing how the parties operated that it was important to me as a Labor Democrat to become a Democrat. But I come from Mercer County. I represented Susan Collins' town. I'm not the same as Susan, but I'm, what they consider a pickup truck progressive because I fight for issues that are important statewide. I just came through a gubernatorial primary where I was outspent 2-1 by all of my opponents, but still one in Mercer County, one in Penobscot, one in Bangor and Portland, two of the three biggest cities. So I just feel like, from one end of the state to the other, I'm going to appeal to people that are looking for a new type of government, something that I've been fighting for my entire life in the state legislature, to change the way that things are going for everyday working class people that feel like they've been getting screwed.
Well, let me ask you about Plattner. You supported him. You bragged about being one of the first supporters of him. Why did you stick with him for so long? Why did you stick with him after the Nazi tattoo? Why did you stick with him after the New York Times article and the aggressive women stuff? Stick with him after the Reddit posts that were arguably racist and sexist? I know he denies the sexual misconduct allegations, but why did you stay with him for so long?
Well, the Nazi tattoo and the Reddit posts, I didn't know. I haven't even ever been on Reddit. But, when people talked about those things and he turned around and said, that these were times whenever they were dark for him and, he'd grown and all this stuff. They were, a different time period for him. And I understood, that people can change. But, I think the biggest thing about this was the issues that Graham was talking about and bringing people out on. Things like Medicare for all, and health insurance, prescription drugs, workers' rights. These are the things that, we've all believed in and wanted a huge change in. And certainly the people here in Maine do. Those earlier things, he had plausible reasons that he said that they happened. But when it came to a credible sexual assault, it became clear that was it. It was, a red line that I wasn't going to cross. And the other thing about it was Graham told me point blank that there was nothing in his past that I had to worry about. And he lied to me, and he lied to a lot of us.
I asked you about independents, how you're going to appeal to them. I want to ask you now about progressives, because there is worry that the progressive side of the Democratic base there in Maine might not be enthusiastic and might not show up. Here is one voter expressing his concerns about you.
Troy Jackson is not progressive. He voted against so many bad things like gay marriage, abortion. He did that, and now wants to say he's progressive. If they put up Troy Jackson, if they put up Shanna Bellows, I'm voting for Susan Collins. And I hate to say that as an independent, but Troy Jackson and Shanna Bellows aren't going to be able to do anything in that federal government.
I know that gentleman says he's an independent, but he's expressing progressive values and beliefs there. So respond to him.
Well, and honestly, he is accurate. I voted against those things over 15 years ago. Since then, I've found out, I've understood. I've always been someone that believed that health care is a human right. And it became clear to me after some time that abortion, reproductive rights access is a human right. It's health care. It's people that, deserve to have that. And when it dawned on me, I became a real advocate for that. I mean, over the last 10 years, I've had 100% voting record for Planned Parenthood. I've sponsored or co-sponsored some of the most progressive abortion access in the entire country and fought vehemently for it. And I make no bones about a bad vote years ago coming out of a rural area, a very Catholic area. People are going to have all kinds of thoughts about these things. But I have a 20-year record of votes like that, but a whole bunch of votes that, people like in the DSA think that I'm very progressive. In the end, I'm fighting for people. I'm fighting for people across Maine. You can call them whatever votes you want, but in the end, I think they're the things that actually drive people, make people's lives better. And it's part of the frustration that people in Maine have right now of a government that's not working for them. And I feel like that too. I'm the Senate president for the last 6 years, the second highest ranking official in Maine. And I'm frustrated that government does not work the way it should. And that's what this race is about, is making sure that we have a government that fights for Mainers.
You do have a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood in New England. I am curious about your the way that you switched. Tell me about your enlightenment on the issues of abortion, on gay marriage, on gun rights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are major issues that, I don't know if we're going to have enough time to talk about all the variables, but, on abortion, I was always conflicted, coming out of when I first started in the legislature. And I had conversations with people, that explained to me how important these issues were. And like I said, I was never unsure about people having health care, believing in people having universal health care. And like I said, when it became clear to me that reproductive rights is health care, then it became clear with all those conversations I had from people that really struggled, that this is something that I had to do. And since then, I've been very big stalwart on that. Gay marriage, again, I said it was the worst vote I ever had. I immediately was sorry I did that. And I've spent a long time trying to make up for that. And as far as gun rights, Lewiston changed everything. Second biggest massacre or something like that. 31 people's families in one night. And it just became clear to me that people that had health problems didn't deserve to have firearms. And the laws that we had failed this state, and we had to do more.
Troy Jackson, thank you very much for answering those questions. I do appreciate you coming on and giving us the time, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.